Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
We're the whites. Nobody ever cares if bad things happen to us anymore.
Hey, yo, Quantic, run them bands up. 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 Hey, yo, Quantic, run them bands up.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back with another show. Thank you for tuning in once again. Shout out to all the church members. Appreciate all the support you guys been showing the channel. We are growing. We are going to touch. You know what? I said I wasn't going to cover this topic on this channel, but you know what? We're adults. We're professionals. We do this for a living. So we're going to cover the difficult topics with, with delicacy, with professionalism. with monetizable commentary. But we have to talk about the Austin Metcalf situation. If you don't know, this young teenage boy, the white boy on the screen, was killed recently at a track meet. He was stabbed in the chest by another teenager from a different school. I'm not sure if it was his school that was actually at the track meet, like the kid from the opposing team. I think so. But either way, Austin Metcalf met a tragic fate recently, and it's not just the details of the case, and I don't necessarily want to get on a moral high horse about the young black kid and why he did what he did. I'm not necessarily going to speculate too much on that, but I did notice an interesting trend and how the online reaction to this event is shaping up. And I got to tell you, the response from Black Twitter. I'm not even on Facebook. I hear Facebook is even worse, right? Because Twitter is a little bit right leaning, but the response from the Black internet isn't really. It's not making me proud. It's not making me proud. I got to tell you that. I'm not really feeling the sympathy and empathy and the support coming from the Black community the way the white community typically does show some level of empathy and support, definitely, for the Black community when these kind of tragic and even these racial incidents happen. And I kind of want to talk about that for a minute. It seems like we're in a really dark, interesting moment in America right now. And you know what? Honestly, it wasn't always like this. The media would have you believe that we were always in this pressure cooker just about to explode. But it wasn't always like that. We weren't always this coarse and this uncaring toward our fellow countrymen.
This 90s interview where black people were asked their opinion on white people has gone viral because the answers are very different from today.
What do you think of white people?
White people, they straight, they just like me,
Okay.
All white people ain't in the same boat, you know what I'm saying? Because like you, if you was a prejudiced white man, you wouldn't be standing here talking to us, right?
Sure.
So I don't have anything against you.
just like me. Just a different color skin, that's why.
You find there's a difference in the way you're treated by white people as opposed to black people?
They haven't treated me wrong in no kind of way.
Never?
Never.
Nothing wrong with white people. I love them just like I love the blacks.
This 90s interview where black people were asked their opinion on white people.
Now, this is the early 90s, King of New York, Frank White era. And one of the interesting developments over the years, especially if you're of a certain age where you can kind of look back over the years with perspective, it is observably true that race relations in this country have gotten worse the further we've gotten away from not slavery, but from the civil rights era, I would argue. The further we get away from the 1960s, where we, as a nation, we decided to finally grapple with America's racial issue, it seems like the racial issue, it got better for a little while, kind of, but now things are turning dramatically worse. And it's hard to understand how we got to this point, but we are at this point, and there's a reason. It's difficult to get into, especially with a constraint, but there is definitely a reason. There's been an effort that has went into overdrive recently that kind of wants America to constantly be sharing some kind of racial guilt on behalf of black people, while at the same time always pointing white people as the the forever enemy of Black America. And this constant messaging, especially like as you go through the colleges and the universities, you kind of get bombarded with this. And it does have an effect over years. Like I gotta say, the results are starting to pay off.
Right? And so that's why I'm coming up with this recent understanding that to abolish whiteness is to abolish white people. And that's very uncomfortable, perhaps, but it asks about our definitions of what race is and what racial justice might mean.
It is fairly common at this point for all kinds of college professors to declare their desire to abolish whiteness, whatever you think that means.
Right? And so that's why I'm coming up with this recent understanding that to abolish whiteness is to abolish white people. And that's very uncomfortable, perhaps, but it asks about our definitions of what race is and what racial justice might mean. Okay? So again, Roediger is asking the same question here about this genuine class unity is not going to happen because within it are these cleavages of racial struggles and gender struggles that prevent class unity from sort of happening and prevents white working class folks from achieving their goal. Okay? Right?
I think I've covered this sort of content before, but he is not alone by far. He is nowhere near alone in his desire to, quote, abolish whiteness. And I got to tell you, it feels a little suicidal as a nation to abolish whiteness when most people would agree, you know, white people founded America. It's hard to get away from that if you're going to blame white people for slavery and for G-siding the Native Americans. I mean, if they did slavery in America and they G-sided all the natives, then they kind of take credit for founding this country. And it just seems a little bit suicidal if you want to abolish the founding stock of the country, of any country. It just doesn't seem like a way to keep the country healthy. But that's what people are teaching in the education system right now. And it's having an effect on the average rank and file Black. It's having a noticeable effect. This incident with Austin Metcalf is starting on, at least on Twitter, because, you know, Twitter is where all the right-wing people go. But it's starting a battle of statistics and per capita arguments. The per capita wars rage on forever. But the idea of Black on white versus white on Black crime is being thrown around like a hot potato right now.
There's something completely broken here. And the problem is that white men in particular are just shutting the fuck up because you're afraid of getting fired, afraid of getting canceled. I think everything's going to...
Hey, Scott, watch your mouth, man. This is why you got canceled, all right? Stop with the potty mouth. White men start using bad words. Next thing you know, I start using bad words. We're trying to run a professional show here, Scott.
I think that the anti-white movement is just so grotesque and so bad for the country that it's time that Black America finds out you went too far. Black America, you went too fucking far.
Forgive Scott. He was uncharacteristically angry that morning. Clue Studio, please do not suggest to any of your rapper friends that they could use a word I created. G-side belongs to me. I like how you negrified the spelling of it all. That was a nice touch. I think they both understand what the word means. You know, I don't want rappers stealing my flow. I'm be talking like Scott, bro. You're gonna have me cursing these dudes out like Scott, bro.
I think I'm one of the canaries in the coal mine in this situation. It's just too far. And I think it's time to throw down the gauntlet. we would not hire these people. And I think that we've reached a point where everything is now too far.
Everything is now too far. This video is maybe 2 years old now. How long ago did Scott get canceled for this video? They took Dilbert from this because of this video. You have to now be a part of Scott's online personal support group if you want to get the Dilbert comic strip, right? They went too far. Scott, you went too far, all right? You talk about the blacks went too far. You went too far, Scott. You did. You went way too far. Shout out to my man Anton with the $2 super chat. If you guys don't know, Anton is a founding member of the Church of Misogyny here. He joined up as soon as the church doors were open. And so we built this church on him. He is the Pope of the Church of Misogyny now. Shout out to Anton. Appreciate you donating, bro. We are getting started. We are just getting started on this show. Hit that like button as you guys make your way in. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a hater to come watch me.
I need that money.
And then also shout out to my man Big Time with the $5 super chat. He says, I'm sorry, hold on. Anton said, Chiron's meager doubloon. I take doubloons, actually. I'm not sure what the going exchange rate on doubloons are, but I'll collect them. I'll stack the doubloons up until we work it out. But Big Time came through with the $5 super chat, and he says, didn't Scott Adams cuck out a few days later when he was interviewed by Hotep Jesus? I think he kind of cucked out a little bit. He was in save mode at that point. He was watching his sandcastle get kicked away. So, you know, it's hard building a sandcastle and then like watching the tide just eat away at it. And you know, he did what he had to do. He did what he had to do. But Scott, for a moment in time, he grabbed that third rail and he didn't let go for a minute. He grabbed one of the Infinity Stones for a minute, just a minute, and it nearly cost him everything. Shout out to Big Time. Thanks for supporting the show, y'all.
Count it up, count it up. Let's count all the money. Count it up, count it up.
Because there was no stopping it. And the reason it went too far is that white men were afraid to say anything. That's it. That's the whole story. White men were afraid to say anything.
I feel like he could have dropped this video yesterday, though. You could actually kind of whip this video out every couple of days, technically, when something egregious happens, because a lot of the egregious things don't even make the news. You guys might not know this because I kind of follow this sort of thing. There are channels on Twitter right now, entire Twitter pages dedicated to tracking black on white crime, murders mostly. And they got a lot of content. There's a lot going on in that particular field of activity. The blacks are active. They are very active.
Because the penalty was too high. Well, fuck everybody. The penalty is too high, but I said it anyway. But the purpose is to make a change that would be good for everybody. Not just good for me, because there's nothing that's going to help me. Right? I've sacrificed myself to the system at this point. So it's not about me. But if you're okay with where things are going, stay silent. If you're not, just say you wouldn't hire these people.
You know, in the I Have a Dream speech, Dr. King had that line about being judged by the content of your character versus the color of your skin. Now, hear me out on this. I know we might be stretching the bounds of credulity just a tad bit here, but what if maybe a lot of the racial hostilities that black people say white people are showing them, what if a lot of those racial hostilities are actually based on the content of character? That's a tough sell, I know. That is a tough sell, but what if that's true? What if it's always been true? You know what? Let me get out of there. I think I might have been drinking too much. I've been thinking way too much. Let me stop. Let me just do the show.
The sad part about it is he died in his brother's arms. They were twins, identical twins. And his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding. And he died in his brother's arms. And I rushed up there and I saw him on the gurney. And I could tell. They said he wasn't breathing. I could see all the blood. I saw where the wound was.
Understandably still in shock, Jeff Metcalf says a precious memory was made just this past weekend when he took his twin boys hunting. That's where Austin got his first hog. Well, this morning at around 10, he rushed here to Kirkendall Stadium where the Memorial High School student athlete suffered a fatal stab wound during this track and field meet. Frisco police say a fight.
I got to tell you, as a parent, this is the worst kind of phone call you'd ever expect. You know, I'd rather get a call that, my job fired me on my day off or something like that. You never want this type of call as a parent. I imagine maybe the second worst thing is for you to be the other family and your son, your high school kid who really hasn't done anything and gotten in trouble to this point. As far as we know, young Carmelo Anthony isn't a quote YN. He's just a young black kid. Apparently he has a family, middle class, decent people. It looks like so far. And now your young good kid is arrested for a murder. Ugh, hell.
Broke out between two students when one stabbed the other. More than 100 student athletes were participating in this meet. Fortunately, they were safely evacuated. Police arrested the suspect. He is 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony of Frisco. He is now charged with murder. Some students, unfortunately, witnessed this deadly encounter and have been interviewed by police. Despite life-saving efforts, the 16-year-old victim died at the hospital. Austin, his father shares, was born 2 minutes before his twin brother Hunter, the two inseparable, as you can imagine. Austin is being remembered as an outstanding student at Memorial High, his football team's MVP, and a young man of faith. His father grappling with loss and forgiveness.
I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet and he murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart.
I think that's a fair question. I tend to blame the parents whenever the youth go off the rails. You always wonder what's going on at home.
The guy was in the wrong place. They asked him to move and he bowed up. This is murder. I don't know. I know they have someone in custody.
Yeah, we do.
And you know what? I already forgive this person.
Already?
Already. God takes care of things. God.
Now, that is a very Christian answer, and it would be hard for me to give that kind of comment in that moment. I understand the motivation of it all, and maybe it's ultimately for the best, but I can't imagine myself in that moment at that time being forgiving. Oh God, being forgiving. It's so tough for me to be forgiving in such a moment like that. I'm not really the forgiving sort. It takes a minute for me. Sometimes, I can let go of little things easily. But big things I tend to remember, and something like this you never forget. And it would take me a long time. I got to tell you, it would take me a very long time.
God's going to take care of me. God's going to take care of my family.
I wish I had that level of faith, honestly. Faith is a good thing to have. I don't have that level of faith, obviously. I just couldn't. I want wrath.
The victim's father says these two teens did not know each other before today. We do need to stress that police have not said what they believe led up to this deadly encounter. There is a prayer vigil tonight at 7 p.m. at Hope Fellowship Church right here in Frisco.
Yeah, like I was saying, I accept that about myself. I would want wrath. You know, I think about my my own children, my own son, and he's getting older, and God knows what comes, because you know anything can happen in this world, and I would definitely be going through it. I would be on a war path. I'd be family feud out here. I couldn't imagine being this calm and this still in a moment like that.
It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know, they weren't there. It's very.
I'm willing to accept that it's not a racial issue at all between the two boys. It doesn't seem like there was any pure racial animus. No one was targeted for racial motivation or anything like that. And so there's no reason to really go down that path of commentary. But I do think it's interesting, though, because we're talking about an alleged empathy gap in this country. And I noticed I was actually I was on Twitter earlier, on X earlier, and I was having this I made a comment to something Delano Squires tweeted, and we were just kind of tweeting back and forth a little bit. And I told him that as I understand it, is a little bit, it's a little known fact, but the FBI does have some kind of community relations department. And what this community relations department does is, in the event of a racial tragedy involving a black person committing a horrible crime against a white person, they ask the family to downplay any racial elements to the crime when they make their commentary to the public. And it's something striking when you consider the opposite, that any racial incident involving a white person committing some kind of crime or just transgression against a black person, it's immediately used as an example of some kind of racial hostility against black people, and it's immediately used as evidence of some sort of deep problem that America has. I want to take you guys back in time to the Haitian invasion of Springfield, Ohio, where a young couple's child, their son, was killed by one of the migrants, and the father made some interesting comments.
To be here after recent comments. You know, I wish that my son, Aiden Clark, was killed by a 60-year-old white man. And I bet you never thought anyone would ever say something so blunt.
He wished his son had been killed by a white man instead of the actual black person who did that. And thank you to Big Time with the $5 super chat. He says, did you see the memorial of the French white girl whose memorial was taken down because it offended migrants? No, that is actually on brand for the French. The frogs would definitely do something like that, but no. Wow. Like I said, I'm noticing a pattern here. Once you start noticing, it's hard to stop. You start noticing all kinds of things. Your pattern recognition skills, they go up tremendously.
But if that guy killed my 11-year-old son, the incessant group of hate-spewing people would leave us alone. The last thing that we need is to have the worst day of our lives violently and constantly shoved in our faces. But even that's not good enough for them. They take it one step further. They make it seem as though our wonderful Aiden appreciates your hate, that we should follow their hate. And look what you've done to us. We have to get up here and beg them to stop.
Now, this is perhaps a very difficult conversation for America to have, because for most of my life, and especially, let's say since the Obama years, right? Let's put it on Obama's shoulders just as a marker. Let him hold that weight. Since the Obama years, America has been going an extra triple overdrive with the racial propaganda and the racial shaming, the historical shaming, the grievance mining, and it has created a couple of generations of people who have irreconcilable racial grievances at this point. And what I'm really beginning to notice is an almost relishing in what happened. All right, let's go back a little while. There was a fight in Alabama last year. You guys remember the infamous Alabama boat fight where a black guy got into some kind of altercation at the dock with a group of white people? And a bunch of other black people jumped in, and it turned into this giant fight, and the black people kind of clearly won the interaction. Black people celebrated that. Black people memorialized that. There were jokes about chairs. A year later, people went back to revisit the incident, do commentary on the whole thing. It became a point of celebration. And what I realized is black people are quick to indulge and celebrate and revel in any kind of perceived racial victory over the white man. And it's hitting a particular tone at this point, especially online, where you now have people who are almost celebrating, and they're almost saying he effed around and he found out. There's an almost I told you so kind of energy for a lot of black people, especially the activist types. There's a weird energy coming from black people around this incident. Let me share something with you guys here. I'm pretty sure he's using bad words, but we'll bear with it.
A teenager murdered another teenager in cold fucking blood. That's what happened. That should be the headline. So-and-so killed so-and-so. But that's not what the headline is for y'all. The headline is a black kid killed a white kid, and the response is, why aren't the black people as outraged as when black people are killed by white people? But I
think that's a fair question. And that gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Is there not an empathy gap in America? There is a clear dearth of empathy from one part to another.
Y'all realize that's a rhetorical fucking question? Why the fuck would we be outraged for y'all niggas? Every single time some fucked up shit happens to us, you justify it. Every time some fucked up shit happens to us, you gotta go in.
That's actually not true. As a nation, America bends over backwards to address racial grievances involving Black people and a lot of people. America does more than maybe any other country. Outside of South Africa, America has done more than any other country to address its racial grievances and its alleged dark history. Thank you. Big shout out. Big thank you to Big Time with the $20 super chat. We're setting super chat records today already. Off to a good start, y'all. Off to a great start. Appreciate you guys.
I need that money.
Big Time says, pull up December 3rd, 2009, South Philly High School. 13 Asians were hospitalized by over 50 basketball juveniles. I like that term, by the way. We use a lot of clever aphorisms in the media to describe Black crime. You know, woman was attacked by a stranger. Random man on a bus slashes an elderly person. A jogger was seen breaking into a home of such and such. We use all kinds of euphemisms. Basketball juvenile is great. We got to add that to the big book of Black euphemisms. All right, 13 Asians were hospitalized by over 50 basketball juveniles. Not one melanated child went to prison. One reason I left Philly.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Hey, man. Hey. I left the Black city for that kind of reason, too. Shout out to Big Time. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat, y'all.
Count it up, count it up. Let's count all the money. Count it up, count it up.
We'll never forget you pieces of shit and how y'all painted Trayvon Martin when that bitch ass nigga killed him, murdered him. Y'all want us to be outraged for you. Bitch, get your fucking ass out there and march, you dumbasses.
Severe lack of empathy. It's almost like the desire for revenge overrides all other concerns. And that is a concern to me anyway.
You want to know why? You want to know why y'all say shit like this? You want to know why y'all really don't like us when it comes to shit like this? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to fucking tell you why. It's because, niggas, we're honest. If we don't like some shit, we let you fucking know. If we don't like your ass, we let you know. If we're not with that shit, we let you know.
When white people let Black people know that they don't like them, it gets called racism. I tell you, when Black people get the honesty from white people, you guys just cry about it and call racism.
Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. Give a nigga a break. How much more can I take? Give a nigga a break.
Whether it be poorly motivated with all the just intentions, whatever the fucking motivation, when a nigga want to say some shit, if a nigga gotta say some shit, if a nigga is irked, pushed the wrong way, he finna tell somebody finna hear. And the better his voice is, the more articulate they are, the more people will hear it and will be moved by it. That's why when niggas get upset, motherfuckers take to the streets and start marching. But don't nobody want to march when you bitches get upset, because you bitches sound like fucking pussies. You're fucking cucks. You cry about...
You know, and this is the weird lack of vision that you get from the angry black activist type. When you get the thing you asked for, you're gonna hate it, bro. You're really gonna hate it. You're gonna be like, why are the white people doing this? This is just like back in the day. The Klan is back again. You're gonna hate it, but you're angrily begging for it, but you're gonna get what you asked for, and you're gonna cry about it.
You cry about when black people... Yeah, yo, the cops are murdering y'all at a much higher percentage than any nigga ever would. Why the fuck ain't y'all marching for to fucking stop the cops? No, you bitches put Blue Lives Matter flags on the back of your fucking cars because you're cucking bitches.
Why would anybody want to stop all the cops? Like I don't like police, you know, sometimes, right? But theoretically, like, we need police, you know what I mean? Like, why would we want to stop all the cops, right? That's niggas dream bigger than their reality, you know what I mean? Niggas dream too big for reality. That's the problem. Hey, shout out to Sigma Jones over on the Rumble chat. Big shout out to the Rumble gang, man. We ain't forget y'all. We're not gonna abandon the Rumble gang because we're monetized on YouTube. What kind of streaming is that? We're streaming on Rumble right now as well. Shout out to Sigma Jones with the $2 Rumble chat. He says, being a coon saves lives. On both ends, actually. On both ends. Being a coon saves your life and mine. You can coon or you can kang.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was kang. We was kang!
You're fucking pussies. That's why you hate us. That's why you ask why there's no outrage, because you're like, somebody's got to march for us because we're too fucking pussy to do it for ourselves.
He's outraged at white people because white people notice the lack of, not outrage, but empathy even. Like, I'm trying to really get inside his emotional chain of logic here, and it's bizarre. He's upset. He's very upset that white people noticed that black people have no empathy. Why does it anger you when people get a good look at you? It's like when the vampire gets in front of the mirror and they do all that. Oh no. You know, it's like, why does having a good look at you hurt you? You get a good look at yourself and you chimp out. I think that's a you thing.
Y'all bitches is busy blaming Jews and black people when you should blame your damn selves for not getting up and fucking stopping shit that you don't fucking like. You hate the fact that black people don't fucking stand for that shit. That's what you hate. And don't let me get started. When I look in-house, you know what I'm saying? Niggas refuse to stop the YN problem, but that's a whole nother conversation. Right now, it's about you. White.
What if the white man stopped the YN problem? Would that satisfy a little bit of the anger you appear to have right now? What if, I know it's a crazy thought, you know, hear me out though. What if the white man solved the YN problem?
You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil? Come on, you teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
I mean, give it a shot, you know? Give it a shot. It just might work.
Man, it's about you, white woman. People on the right, crybaby bitch niggas who cry because nobody will march for your bitch ass.
Like I said, we are talking about the death of Austin Metcalf. It's revealing a dangerous empathy gap in America. And I think I've kind of made a little bit of the point so far with just this one guy. You know, we could have done a whole show maybe off just this one guy, but there's more. It gets worse, bro. Hit the like button. We're not done.
Get your fucking shoes on, get a fucking sign, and go out there and march for that little nigga. Go march for that little nigga, because what happened was wrong. But stop expecting people whom you despise to get up and march for you.
Couldn't that same argument be thrown right back at black people, though? Isn't it black people who technically always want the white man to feel sympathy for their tragedies, to feel bad about when horrible things happen to them? Like I said, I'm noticing a severe lack of apathy. And I'm not the only one noticing. You know, white folk, their pattern recognition is pretty sharp. It's pretty sharp. And they're creative with their pattern recognition too.
Repeats in a regular way, and you notice it, you can surely say it's a pattern. It's a pattern. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a pattern. Thing repeats in a regular.
It's a pattern. They are noticing things. And it's hard to not notice things because we live in the internet age. And when you're in the internet age, there's video everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. The eye isn't just in the sky. The eye is in the wall. It's in the vent. The eye is in the floor. The eye is in the pocket of the person sitting across from you on the bus. The eye is literally in the glasses of somebody that you walk past down the street right now. Now they got the Ray-Bans with the camera in them. Everything's recorded now. And the narratives are crumbling around us left and right.
Will anybody in the sports media world talk about this? Will any of the Cowboys treat Austin Metcalf the way the Cowboys treated George Floyd, taking a knee all over the place? What's more of a tragedy? George Floyd overdosing on fentanyl under the knee of Derek Chauvin?
I noticed that when it comes to black creators and activists and whatnot, it's only the black right wing that is taking a bit of an outraged tone about this. And it's outrage, one, at the incident itself, and then it's outrage at the environment that is producing this incident, because this is not happening in a vacuum.
Or this 17-year-old boy, honor roll student, devout Christian, stabbed in the heart at a track meet. But no one's outraged. Or, no, that's a misnomer.
Only right-wing people are outraged. Left-wing people are like, hey, man, get your hand off my bag.
People are outraged. But these idolatrous, or these idols that have been installed in our culture, let's see if they have a word to say about this. I don't think they will. Because we've seen this before.
Now, we have our favorite mulatto friend in the chat. You know, as a mulatto, shouldn't you feel torn about this incident? You know, this is why it's hard to trust the mulatto contingent. Because you would think, as a mulatto, you would feel a 50-50 kind of thing about this. Like, you know, part of me is like, hey, man, get your hand off my bag. And the other part of me is like, you know, why these niggas so violent? You know, as a mulatto, I just expect more from you is all I'm saying. But the mulatto asked if Metcalf would have never initiated violence, Metcalf would still be alive today. That is what a lot of the black people are arguing, though. That is the sentiment going around.
Do you remember the shows I was doing a year and a half ago about the kid Ethan Liming? The 17-year-old, I believe, high school football player in Akron, Ohio.
I think that was the kid that was killed outside of LeBron James's I'm going to educate the Black Kids Academy. Yeah. That's what it takes to educate the black kids. You got to sacrifice a white boy every now and then.
Who got beaten up and killed in the parking lot of LeBron James's I Promise school. Everybody goes deathly silent.
Hey, big time again with the $5 super chat. Remember when the Steelers Villanueva stood for the anthem and the Steelers wanted to wear the name of a hood rat on their helmet? I don't remember the exact incident, but it's typical. It's typical. Like I said, the empathy only pours in one direction. It only flows in one way. The river of empathy never changes direction. It's only empathy for the blacks, never empathy for the whites. And it's hard to not notice once you notice it. You know, noticing is a powerful thing.
When the white kid with the promising future gets killed by young black men, the boys that killed Ethan Lyman, they got 18 months in prison. They were found not guilty of involuntary manslaughter. A dispute over.
Now, this is another recent kind of turn of events. I don't know if this was true 30 years ago, but recently there have been a handful of cases where it's been a black perpetrator and a white victim, and the punishment was outrageously lenient. And it's another thing that people are starting to notice. And so as much as the blacktivists would complain about how hard it is to be black and how much the system actually hates them, in the last 10, 15 years maybe, there's been a noticeable shift in how the system goes out of its way to not punish black criminals to the full extent of the law, to go very lenient on a lot of criminals, in fact.
Someone shooting water pellets at these two young black boys turns into the death of Ethan Liming.
And shout out to Big Time with the $10 super chat. Remember when Shannon Sharp said that Villanueva had to be reprimanded and compared a football game to being shot at in a war zone? And that just kind of doubles down on this weird hypersensitivity that black people have. Well, a lot of black folk, they operate as if they are under constant racial aggression, when I think the opposite is true. I think as a white person, you are more likely to encounter racial aggression from a black as opposed to the opposite. If you're black, you are racial aggression from white people becomes a once in your lifetime thing. I don't know that a lot of white people can say that. And honestly, the numbers, God, the numbers back it up. The numbers on that kind of thing are horrible. And it takes on a weird kind of tone where you can't always say for a fact that every single thing that happens black versus white is a purely I hate white people thing. I'm not really going to argue that. But what I will say is this. for a lot of other reasons we don't need to get into right now, Black people of the criminal-minded type will go out of their way and take great pleasure in targeting random white people. It is a thing. It's known. It happens. And I won't deny it at this point. I've seen it too many times.
McKenna Maishi says she was chased into her house by this teen. She was playing in the park across the street, but went back to her front yard after getting hit with a gel bead. Her mom says she told her to stay in the yard until the teens left.
And just a few minutes later, I hear her screaming, and then I hear them pelting my front door with Orbeez as she's trying to get in. And all I heard was they shot McKenna, and I ran outside, and they were gone.
Maishi says it happened so fast. She counted about 6 teenagers in hoodies, but says only one fired at her.
I thought it was like somebody was throwing something at me, trying to get my attention.
She says the shooter didn't stop until she got inside. That's when her mom saw the extent of her daughter's injuries.
She had him down the side of her neck, behind her ears, her arms, her hands.
I accidentally lay on my back and it hit my back.
Marshall filed a police report and is hoping someone can identify the teens. She says she heard there were kids last summer going around with gel blasters. Her daughter didn't get a good look at their faces.
That's why I didn't turn around. I was about to, but I was scared they would shoot my face.
Marshall says she wants justice for Maishi because she worries it'll escalate if they're not caught.
The most important thing is that the kids are held accountable, because it's not just my daughter that there's kids that are younger than her that they're going after.
If Maishi could say anything to the shooter,
you need to quit doing that, because you can seriously cause somebody to get injured.
Hey there. Yeah, you could stop watching right now, but let's be honest, you don't want to do that. Hit the links or click subscribe.
All right. And no, that video had nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony, but we're actually talking about something bigger than Carmelo Anthony. All right. Just trust your white half. Let your white half guide you, bro. Your black half will only confuse you.
And then I saw him about to fall. I would go over there. I grab him. I see him. Let's go.
Yeah, I understand. Best I can to understand.
Yeah, there was. You can see. You can picture what happened when what was coming out of his chest, and
yeah.
Y'all can visualize other stuff. I don't want to put down my mom right now, but I pushed my hand on there, trying to make it stop, and I grabbed his head and I looked in his eyes. I just saw his soul leave, and it took my soul too.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to ask you one last question. I've seen interviews with your husband, who I can hear in the side, by the way. I think he's there in the room with you. I saw an interview last night. Okay, someone else. Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
But I have seen interviews with your husband in the last 24 hours, and it was remarkable to me that I heard your husband say within hours of this that he forgave this other young man, and he got there so quickly. And I honestly don't know that I could, and I just want to see, and I don't know if there's a right or a wrong place to be, especially as quickly as this has happened. Megan, how do you feel on that front today?
I am not like their dad. I am so angry at that boy. And it's just not fair. That's all I have.
I understand.
I'd like to say it's forgave, not forgotten, but I'm not at that point yet to forgive that kid for what he did to my brother. Because, 17 years, my best friend, just there in the blink of an eye, I lost him. So I'm not at that point.
Everybody's talking about this story regarding Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf down there in Frisco, Texas. Austin got unalived. A lot of people are trying to make it a race issue, and it's not. It has nothing to do with that right there. But a lot of people are attacking this young man and are showing the negative side and everything. But I want you to see him in his positive side, because this was self-defense. The story that's being told, Carmelo, he was sitting up under a tent, under the wrong tent and everything. That's what they said, under the wrong tent. And Austin came over there, told him to move.
Now, I realized something as I listened to a lot of the black people attempt to defend young Carmelo. I think there's a lot of fabrication happening right now. I mean, there's been documents that have been fabricated to support the defense of Carmelo Anthony. And I'm just noticing black folk are really, really doing their best to try to paint this kid in the most positive light, because it's a team sport.
Said Carmelo got aggressive with him and everything, and then stabbed him with a knife in the heart and everything, and he passed away. That's not the full story. First off, Carmelo had permission from another coach to go over there and set up under that tent. He had permission. Another thing that was said and been spread out far and wide is that they didn't know each other. That's a lie, because they definitely knew each other. This is an older picture. They definitely knew each other. Other stuff that's coming out is Austin was being mean and harassing Carmelo.
I don't think that is, in fact, a picture of the two together. People, well, he is throwing this picture around. I don't know that that's proof of these two boys together. I can't tell you for a fact that that's these boys, but I don't know why he's saying that. All this is proof of is that Carmelo had white friends, which nobody's arguing that anyone was targeted for a racial incident. But let's continue.
Definitely knew each other. Other stuff that's coming out is Austin was being mean and harassing Carmelo, his girlfriend, actually, Carmelo's girlfriend. He was harassing her at a party.
Oh, now he was harassing Carmelo's girlfriend at a party. How do you know this, though?
It was about maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. Carmelo took up for his girlfriend. Then all of a sudden, the fight broke out. Austin broke Carmelo's phone just the day before this incident took place. So the day of this incident.
Oh, so the day before the incident, he broke his phone. Okay, cool. This guy, he's like the FBI. He's on it. He knows everything.
Austin confronted Carmelo for sitting up under the tent in the wrong area. They got into an argument. Carmelo's backpack was grabbed, and then he was called the N-word.
He called him the N-word, not the N-word. Oh, come on. Not the N-word. I know he didn't call him the N-word, bro. Not the N-word.
Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. You know, nigga this, nigga please, nigga. Can you lend a nigga a pencil? Niggers! Say, what the fuck?
He used the no word. You know, I think it's very unfortunate. It's not a sign of anything positive that black people, and apparently only black people, have a magic no word. It is the word that nearly universally, I'm not going to say all the time, but it provokes violence and aggression like no other word. And I don't think any other group of people have a no word. There is no other magic word like that. I mean, yeah, the hats have the K word. That is true. That is true. But they don't typically fight you over it. You might get sued or something, but they don't typically fight you over it. You know, it's not that magical. It's more litigious than magical, you know? But the N-word is magical.
And then Austin tried to grab him forcibly. He tried to forcibly move him. And it wasn't Austin by himself. Both of them got up there and attacked Carmelo. Both of them did. And there were a lot of witnesses down there that said that the twins, plural, tried to jump him. Well, actually, they did jump him. They stomped on him and they broke his phone and they tried to take his things. So nothing peaceful.
Oh, he was getting stomped on And then from the floor in a stomping position, he stabbed the other child in the chest after getting stomped on. Oh man, I didn't even know this is actually turning into a dramatic thing. This is like a Jason Statham movie. He's like just an innocent working man, huh? One day, they messed with the wrong black kid.
So it was about that whole thing. And something else is going to come out. This is allegedly. Something else is going to come out. He had narcotics in his system. He did. Austin, he had narcotics in his system. That's what caused him to be overly aggressive. So just like
it was the drugs. He was high on the drugs. He was on them. What white people take? He was high on the methamphetamines. That's what it was. He was on them white people drugs. You know, the white people drugs make you violent. That's what I heard anyway. Those white people drugs, they make you violent. You take them white people drugs, next thing you know, you want to climb a mountain and conquer a village. The white people drugs are dangerous, man. Don't take white people drugs.
Going to come out. This is allegedly. Something else is going to come out. He had narcotics in his system. He did. Austin, he had narcotics in his system. That's what caused him to be overly aggressive. So just like I said over on the book face over there, that was self-defense. That's what he did. He did self-defense. Everybody's coming for him. People trying to make this out of something that is not self-defense.
The blacks are telling us it is a self-defense issue.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Somebody by the name of Kevin Hayes posted over on Facebook. He says, the truth about Carmelo, let's set the record straight. Enough with the misinformation. Let's talk about facts. Number one, it's normal for students from different schools to gather under another school's tent. Carmelo
Is that actually normal? And then let me point out something, because I just realized something about what that last guy was talking about, right? If it was all true, because that last guy, he said that Austin was bullying him previously. Austin had previously broken his phone, had previously insulted his girlfriend, right? So what you're actually building now is motive. You understand what motive is, right? And so if they had previously known each other because Austin was being mean to this kid, and now what does this kid do? He brings a knife to an athletic event, and then he places himself in confrontation with the boy who was bullying him. And then the boy is stabbed with the knife that you brought. That sounds very much like motive and intent. Murder 1, 25 to life.
had friends there. He wasn't trespassing or looking for trouble. Number two, the claim that one of the twins had never seen Carmelo before, a blatant lie. Now, I've heard the speculation that he knew them. This was not just somebody who they didn't know, that they had interactions before, which is really interesting. Why that's being left out of the story, I don't know.
Black people will literally get on TikTok and make a quote unquote factual news related video and literally say, this is a speculation and I don't know why we're not actually taking it more seriously. It's actually speculation. You are literally making a speculative argument and you want people to believe you as gospel. Black people, I tell you, man, you can't trust the black folks with these things. Listen, man, listen. This is how you wind up being the one black friend, because you know a lot of these blacks be on some bull, man. I gotta tell you.
These blacks. Now, I've heard the speculation that he knew them. This was not just somebody who they didn't know, that they had interactions before, which is really interesting. Why that's being left out of the story, I don't know. Let's keep going. No student has the right to remove another student from a school-owned tent. The school owns the tent, not the twins. Carmelo is a track athlete. The twins are not. He wasn't even expecting to see them there.
We don't know the nature of any of this. We don't know. How do you automatically know the school's policy right after? Like, the boy body ain't even cold yet, and you know everything about the school's policies at athletic events. Like, this is what I mean. Like, niggas really, really be going out their way to be like, that boy good. He didn't do nothing. This is a national coordinated effort of didn't do nothingry. I've never seen such a coordinated didn't do nothing effort in my life. This is amazing. People really going out their way to like add facts and speculate about rumors and whatnot, making their TikTok videos. Plus, you know, you got to get the money. They trying to get the algorithm. You know, you got to get your TikTok shekels.
Now, here's what they don't want you to know. The twins didn't just ask him to leave. They tried to jump him. Before attacking him, they tried to take his belongings, broke his phone, and stomped on it. The twins are known bullies.
The twins are known bullies. Now they're known bullies. Now, as I understand it, young Austin is a star athlete with a 4.0 GPA. He is literally the golden boy. And you know, golden boys don't typically have the bullying reputation. It's not often that the 4.0 athletic golden boy is also a bully. That's literally an 80s high school movie trope. It's not really real.
So ask yourself, if two 200-pound attackers came at your child, what would you expect them to do? And yet, despite everything the media is trying to destroy Carmelo's name, they keep posting.
Now they're both 200-pound attackers. They are both 200 pounds. So this young Negro scholar was faced with 400 pounds of young white supremacy. Is that what you want me to believe? He was faced with 400 pounds, not 2, not 3, but 400 pounds of angry young white supremacy. That is what you want me to believe, that both of those young boys were 200 pounds each, easy. Okay, all right.
A picture of him with an airsoft gun, not even a real firearm, an airsoft gun, not even a real firearm, to manipulate public perception. Why? Because they want to paint him as a criminal instead of a victim. Let's talk about who Carmelo is: a respectful, well-mannered young man, a 4.0 student with multiple college offers, a kid with zero criminal history, not even a blemish, and a son raised in a loving home by parents who taught him right from wrong.
Now, that is the actual tragedy on Carmelo's half. It's not just the actual murder of it all, but we really do expect this kind of thing from a less pedigreed person. It seems like you shouldn't be involved in that sort of thing. You know, you come from a good home, you're a good student, you don't have any record, you're not known for any real troublemaking. Yet here we are. As soon as a fight kicks off, you stab the kid in the chest. It really is inexplicable unless you have dark racial theories.
Wrong. A life was lost, and that is tragic. But what also is tragic is the way the media is twisting this story to fit their own agenda. Carmelo defended himself against violent aggressors. This is not a crime. Do not let the media race bait you. Do not let them manipulate the facts. Justice will prevail. And of course, we know that they only posted Carmelo's mugshot, not even him with his football gear, him with his suit on, but they did, in fact, make sure to post the victim in his football gear and the victim in his school.
That is very typical for when you actually, the young kid confessed right away. Like, he immediately confessed to the police. It's not even a question of like, did he do it or not? So, I mean, yeah, they put his face up because we put the mug shots of criminals on television. I don't know if you ever heard of this. Maybe you're new here. I don't know how long you've been around, but it's a thing we do in America. The mugshots of people who commit especially crazy, heinous crimes, we tend to show people just so you get a good look at them. We don't want you to not get a good look at the people you should avoid. What if it happens to you? What if you bump into this guy? You don't want to be the one. You don't want to be the one. I didn't know he was like that. Well, we put his face on the news. We told everybody. That's why his face is on the news. That's why we have to do that, so that you don't accidentally bump into the guy and be like, oh, he's one of the good ones. No, we warned you. We specifically warned you. He is not one of the good ones.
Pictures. Why not do that for Carmelo as well? This is something that we always see within the Black community, which is really, really sad. But very interesting take, because I thought everybody was saying that the twins didn't even know him. Interesting.
Tell you, everybody's got a lot of theories. Lots and lots of theories going around, man. I'll tell you, it's disappointing watching what the Black internet's producing around this, and I'm not the only one noticing.
Where are all the Black leaders, the Black male leaders out there condemning this young man, Carmelo Anthony, who murdered a 17-year-old football star over no reason, stabbed him in the heart on some ridiculous BS? And we know that this is a problem. We know this is a problem in the Black community. We know we have a problem with violence in the Black community. We know we have a problem with fatherlessness and leadership in the Black community. I'll see LeBron James out there, a millionaire, talking all day long about how oppressed he is, how bad his life is, how bad white people are, and how oppressed Black people are. But you don't have any energy for our own community. You don't have any energy to hold ourselves accountable. Where are our Black men standing up, standing out, saying this is not who we are? Young men, this is not okay. Black community, we need to rally. We need to figure out what is going on in our community, what is going on with our young boys, what is going on with our fathers. We aren't these people.
Another thing I realized too, I just thought about this, the Black people defenders in this incident right now, they're not even they're not attempting to argue that, hey, this is a one-off. Black people aren't that violent. We're not really like that. Really, what you're hearing from the pro-Blacks and the activists and the defenders right now is, hey, man, come get some. That's literally what the pro-Blacks and the activists are pretty much saying right now. They're not even attempting to downplay the violent accusations. They're just like, hey, yeah, what's up? Yeah, and I'll do it again. Like, it's crazy the response from the Black activists out there.
Where are you, Barack Obama? Where are you, LeBron James? Where are you, Charles Barkley? Where are all the Black male leaders who have told us forever and ever that the white man is the problem and that Black people need help, that we're oppressed, that we can't do better because white people are preventing us from doing better? Where are you? Where are you? Get out there and tell all those white people that you say think so badly about us, tell them that this is not who we are. And then tell our Black boys, this is not who we are. This is not how we handle things. It's not up to white people to keep condemning this stuff. We need to do it too. Where are you?
It's to the point of mockery. Now, it took a couple of years before people started trolling George Floyd. I don't even think you were legally allowed to troll George Floyd for at least like 8 months, right? Because there was literal violence in the street. I think a person was shot for saying white lives matter. It took a long time for the trolling George Floyd phenomenon to happen. And it's only really recently that you kind of notice. But with Austin, they trolling him immediately.
See you at the crossroads, so you won't be lonely. So you won't be lonely. See you at the crossroads.
I tell you, that empathy gap, you know, once you notice it, it's hard to not notice it. Chantel Mason, prayers for Carmelo Anthony and his family. Prayers for all children of the world. No mention of Austin. Because, see, in Black America, we respect the stabber, not the stabbee. It's crazy. It's crazy. If Kyle Rittenhouse was justified in using lethal self-defense, remember, you said he wasn't. If Daniel Penny was justified in using lethal self-defense, remember, you said he wasn't. Then Carmelo Anthony was justified in using self-defense against alleged bullies who instigated an altercation, correct? And so they actually do have nice pictures of the kid floating around. I mean, he seemed to be a decent kid up until this point. God knows why you would do something like that just because you get into a little scrape. I expect that sort of behavior from hardened criminals. Why is it that young Black teenage kids respond with the level of violence you expect from a hardened criminal?
See, he's emotional. This is actually on my notes. Look.
Emotional. I'm having fun with.
It says emotional aggressiveness. I made notes about you. I knew you would behave like this. You're a stereotypical African-American male. You're not strategically aggressive. You're emotionally aggressive, which means you did not make a rational decision to be aggressive. Your emotions have compelled you to be aggressive. And this is how you guys end up in jail. You're raised by your single mom. You weren't given enough game. So you don't have the masculine force to be strategic. So you just lash out and you commit a violent crime and you end up in prison. And then when you get out of prison, you kind of screwed yourself over. Now you struggle in the job market, and then you're going to end up living with a fat white girl who's going to pay all your bills. Then eventually she's going to be like, Tyrone, you don't never pay any bills and you don't take care of your kids, Tyrone. And then she's going to kick you out. And then you're going to end up homeless on Skid Row. See, he's emotional. This is actually on my notes. Look.
Emotional. I'm having fun with.
It says emotional aggressiveness. I made notes about you. I knew you would behave like this. You're a stereotypical African-American male. You're not strategically aggressive. You're emotionally aggressive, which means you did not make a rational decision to be aggressive. Your emotions have compelled you to be aggressive. And this is how you guys end up in jail. You're raised by your single mom. You weren't given enough game. So you don't have the masculine force to be strategic. So you just lash out and you commit a violent crime and you end up in prison. And then when you get out of prison, you kind of screwed yourself over. Now you struggle in the job market, and then you're going to end up living with a fat white girl who's going to pay all your bills. Then eventually she's going to be like, Tyrone, you don't never pay any bills and you don't take care of your kids, Tyrone. And then she's going to kick you out. And then you're going to end up homeless on Skid Row.
He's not lying. It actually kind of does work that way. This is just one more event that is encouraging white people to have what's known as the talk. This idea that as a white person, you should maybe watch your back around the Black folk because they kind of sort of hate you and you never know when they'll lash out at you.
So I did my research on this tragic incident that happened between these two 17-year-old kids, Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. After doing my research on this incident and reading the police report, Austin Metcalf was the aggressor in this situation. This is Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony had zero criminal history. He has a 3.7 GPA and multiple college football offers. Carmelo Anthony was a track athlete at a track meet. And comes to find out, Austin Metcalf and his twin brother don't even run track. Austin Metcalf had no right to try to remove another student from a school-owned tent. Austin Metcalf singled out Carmelo Anthony. Other kids from Austin Metcalf School are saying that these two are known bullies. Before Austin Metcalf attacked Carmelo Anthony, am I saying that this kid deserved to be stabbed? No, I'm not. But you cannot threaten physical harm on somebody. Trying to be a security guard, take their belongings, break his cell phone, and not expect things to escalate. Austin Metcalf and his twin brother could have went and found an adult. They could have went and told a resource officer. Even though these two don't even run track, they could have found somebody. Carmelo Anthony was arrested on first-degree murder charges. When the police got there, he said, I did it. He shouldn't have put his hands on me. And I see a lot of white people in the comments saying that if Austin Metcalf would have stabbed Carmelo Anthony, it'll be a race war. It'll be all over social media. No, it would not. You white people would be saying Carmelo Anthony was a thug, he's an aggressor, and he was protected.
I think we kind of generally expect it to be true. The media does not cover black on white violence anywhere near the same level that they cover white on black. They do not sensationalize black on white crime at all. Really, they try to forget it. They don't even really want to talk about it. It becomes a local news story because the local news has to cover it, but it doesn't really go national that often.
Protecting himself. Either way, this is a tragic situation. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Last thing I want to say is, if Austin Metcalf would have just minded his business, didn't try to be this tough guy, he would still be alive. It's hard to say, but it's the truth.
Oh, he was trying to be a tough guy. I didn't realize he was trying to be a tough guy. Well, that just changes it all, doesn't it? Shout out to the Midwest Request with the $1 Rumble chat. Shout out to the Rumble gang. He says, you can be justified aggressively using force in defense, but can never be justified using violence to keep your pride. And I think the justification of violence is in this case, it's not really working. It's not a good call in this case, because it seems like you put yourself in a situation to provoke the reaction, and then you got the reaction, and then you went to deadly force immediately. Like, if this thing gets argued out in court, it's easy for them to paint him as an instigator.
I done did all the research. I done read the full affidavit. I done read the reports. And I'm just going to say this. You don't get the right to put your hands on me and not expect the consequence. That's just point blank. Self-defense becomes self-preservation. Okay? At schools, you got the appropriate people in place to take care of issues like that. And for the record, y'all, everybody saying, why was he in the tent? He was in it. They was on a rain break. Yes, it was raining out there, and everybody was under the tent to stop the rain from getting on them. Okay? First and foremost.
How often do you go sit with the other team, though? It just seems like a weird move to sit with the other team. And, like, literally because of the rain, you'd rather sit with the other team. Like, you can't walk across the field to go sit with your people. It just seems a little bit odd.
Foremost. Second, they said his boy phone got bullied, his book got taken, and he was being bullied. Okay, this is the witnesses saying this. This is you know, it's controversial stories out there, but this is what they saying. They say him and his twin was over 200 pounds apiece. All right? Now, y'all.
Damn, that was 400 pounds of white supremacy, man. I got to tell you. What are you supposed to do when 400 pounds of white supremacy is telling you to get out of here? You got to move. Don't sit over here.
This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
I know very little about self-defense, but I'm going to tell you straightforward. Self-defense becomes self-preservation. There is no telling what a person would do under fear. Okay, fear is a real thing. So I'm going to say this to all my people. This for all people. It's not a race thing, Stephanie, but I'm going to say sometimes you got to do a little in-house checking. We need to start a GoFund for Carmelo Anthony to get him the best attorney possible to fight this case. At most, it's a manslaughter. He's currently being charged for first-degree murder. Secondly, it's a self-defense case. And they have some self-defense grounds in Texas. Point blank. This is unfortunate. Thoughts and prayers to all the family. Check my refrigerator if you don't see that. But the facts are the facts. And your emotions and your feelings and your attachment to certain creed or ethnicity doesn't change the facts. You don't get the right to put your hands on me under no circumstances.
It was all his fault. He did it. Him did it to himself.
People are starting a race war and turning this kid into a martyr for white supremacy. It's to the point where I actually feel bad for him. They're putting his face next to victims of police brutality, saying, y'all protested for them. Why can't we protest for him? Who are y'all trying to protest? Black people? The story is as simple as the black dude sat under a tent put there by the white guy's school, and the white dude wanted him to leave and got physical with him, and the black dude pulled out a knife and stabbed him. That's the story. That's it. And I'm pretty sure the white dude's twin brother was also part of this altercation. I don't know what code of honor y'all live by, but two big dudes trying to press me. I'm big myself, and I'm still going for the closest weapon I could find. It's crazy coming from y'all gun lovers, especially because cases like where the prankster got shot by the dude he was trying to prank, we all agreed like he messed around and found out with the wrong person. If I walked around Chicago with a stack of hundreds on my head, do I deserve to be robbed? No. But am I probably going to be robbed because of my actions? Yes. If something bad happens to you during a fight that you could have chose to not participate in, the results of that fight are also on you. They want this to be a hate crime so bad, they're even calling it premeditated, implying that he went to a football game with thousands of people to seek out a white kid in the crowd and stab him in front of all these people. And then what? What was the plot? You call having a knife in your backpack evil, but walking around Walmart with an AR-15 is patriotic. Pick a side. Every single year, far-right white supremacists take a story like this and try to make it political. There was another one where a group of white kids pulled up with like Orby shooters or pellet guns or something like that, shot at some black kids playing basketball. A fight broke out. White kid fell, hit his head, and died during that fight. And they tried to make that political. They tried to make that a hate crime. Again, they were comparing that to police brutality, calling for protest against I don't know who. But at the end of the day, it's as simple as this. Could you have avoided any physical harm if you chose not to fight? The answer is yes. It's all on you. Because again, with me, I'm never an aggressor. If I'm ever in a fight, it started by the other person. So if I can't get away from the fight, I'm fighting for self-defense. And we're talking about a 2v1. I don't care. At that point, I'm picking a baby stroller up and tearing you up with it. People are starting a race war and turning this kid into a martyr for white supremacy. It's to the point.
You know, before we let the blacks run too wild with their commentary, let me share from the witness who was actually there. And oh, thank you. Shout out to True Hype with the $10 super chat. You don't sit with the other side because issues happen and defense versus justifiable proportional response is going to be at issue here. If you put yourself in a situation and it goes left, it's on you. Yeah, I kind of made that argument a minute ago. Like, if you really did have a problem with these kids beforehand, you brought a knife to this track meet, and then you sat over there in their tent, basically on their turf. Like, come on, bro. You know what you were doing, right? And I'm not even saying all those details are accurate, but that's what like his defenders are trying to say. Like, oh, well, they were bullying him before, and they had beef before and all this stuff. Like, well, that's just, you know, evidence of premeditation, isn't it?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track.
Now, I guess he's saying they don't know who this kid is at all. It was totally random.
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." He's like, "Make me move." Also grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. And I mean, I try to help him, but
it was just senseless.
it was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like that man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid, real strong. And I know I'm strong too, but he's a little stronger. But he did a lot for our family and a bunch of stuff that we just don't recognize. And it's just like, especially throughout our friends too, like everyone knew, like he was the peacemaker. He was, so I'm saying, like, heard someone who really makes peace, really calms peace down. He makes everything sail smoothly. And because I get upset, but then he calms me down. He was just always there for me. So it's just really heartbreaking to see like how this happened.
And parents like Austin Metcalf are the reason people don't hold their kids accountable. It's because your child has a higher GPA or he's doing good in school. He's on an honor roll. He's on this. He's on that. He has these scholarships. Does not mean that's his character. You don't know that person outside of your household. There's multiple people saying that they were bullies. Him and his brother are bullies. They broke Carmelo's phone a week prior to this. Tried to jump him a week prior to this. Told him racial slurs prior to this. Damn, bitch, I've had enough. Fuck. He was minding his own black business. Y'all walked up to him and told y'all were the only people to say something that he could not sit there. The only people to say he could not sit there. He literally told the boy verbatim, touch me and see what happened. Because why are you messing with me? He touched him and he saw what happened. Granted, it shouldn't have cost him his life. But my boundaries are my boundaries. What are we talking about here? If shit was reversed, oh bitch, it wouldn't be, this wouldn't be a question. This would not be a topic of discussion. It'd have been that, and he'd been let go home because he was messed with. He was the black boy was the aggressor. When in reality, that's not the case. People have came out and said they are bullies. What are we talking about here? And parents like Austin Metcalf are the reason people don't hold their kids accountable.
Whoa, y'all, this is wild. So I'm just now seeing this. This was sent to me. And let me know, you guys, what you think about this, because this is crazy. So I'm getting reports that there is a totally different side to this whole Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf story, y'all. This is crazy. I'm not going to lie. This had my jaw dropped. Let me show y'all. So this is a report from the Collin County Autopsy Report. And it says right here, the date of birth of Austin Metcalf, July 13th, place of death, David Stadium, Frisco, Texas, and then the time of death was 4:14 p.m. It says right here, the cause of unaliving was drug overdose, blood loss via stab wound.
Now, let me point something out to you guys. This has been addressed by the local police department as a forgery. This is a false document she's actually reporting to you guys. She is literally reporting a made-up document because, you know, gotta make the blacks look good.
These blacks. It says right here, the cause of unaliving was drug overdose, blood loss via stab wound, and this right here, which is also known as the MOLLY. Is this like what? And on the GoFundMe that was taken down for Carmelo Anthony, it says right here, it's normal for students from different schools to gather under another school's tent. Carmelo had friends there. It also says the claim that one of the twins had never seen Carmelo before, a blatant lie. It says no student has the right to remove another student from a school-owned tent. The school owns the tent, not the twins. And it also says Carmelo is a track athlete. The twins are not.
Notice how everybody is running with the same lies over and over again. You know that thing they say about, you know, the lie gets around the world, lightning speed, but truth takes a long time, something like that. Like people are literally just going over the same lies. And I remember I saw this come out earlier today, this morning, and I was like, how would you know all this right away? How would anybody know all these things right away? Like, you need to slow down, bro. You got to chill.
He wasn't even expected to see them there. And it also says the twins didn't just ask him to leave. It says they tried to jump him. It also says that before attacking him, they tried to take his belongings, broke his phone, and stomped on it. And it says the twins are known bullies. It says, ask yourself, if two 200+ pound attackers came at your child, what would you expect them to do? And yet, despite everything, the media is trying to destroy Carmelo's name. They keep posting a picture of him with an airsoft, not even a real firearm to manipulate.
You know, it's crazy. You're reading this random post on Twitter, like from some person. You're reading it as if it is an official list of facts that have been investigated and proven without a doubt. Like, you're just taking it and running with it. And then, you know, what winds up happening is your video goes viral and then other black people take it and run with it, and they make more videos and they go viral, and then everybody goes stupid.
Manipulate public perception because they want to paint him as a criminal instead of a victim. What do you guys think about this? I feel like there's still so many unanswered questions to this case, and before we need to make assumptions about anything, we should ask questions and be willing to be wrong. This whole situation is starting to really confuse me. I feel like there's definitely something that happened there that they're not saying and talking about, and the fact that certain people are trying to make this into a race war and start a race war, specifically people, is wrong, and trying to call people of color, black people, slurs is wrong. And I honestly feel like I've seen that since the beginning of this case. Whoa, y'all, this is wild. So I'm just now seeing this. This was
Yeah, the fatigue is setting in. The Negro fatigue is becoming a problem.
Man, look, I don't know where to start, but let's talk about it. So there's always three sides to every story. You know, you have one side who's the victim, then you got the suspect or the person that did it, and then you have the truth. Okay. So let's talk about Carmelo Anthony. All right. The young man that admitted to unaliving or hurting Austin Metcalf, who eventually lost his life. All right. So Carmelo Anthony, y'all probably seen this picture everywhere. These three pictures, y'all probably seen these everywhere, right? Okay, cool. All right. But why not use that photo of the young man in the suit and tie? Why not use that photo?
People accused of murders, especially a stabbing, like two students, you don't just get their suit and tie photo right away. It's just not how we do things, bro. We don't try to play up the criminal in the situation.
And why not use the photo of Austin and his brother like this? Why not use that photo?
And you know, it's a weird thing black people do. They take the pictures of white folk. It'll be either like the whole family all posing with their hunting rifles, or people actually in their hunting gear, whatever, holding hunting rifles. Like, it's known that white folk have a huge hunting culture, and these blacktivist type people, they want to claim that, well, all the pictures of black kids holding firearms are the same exact thing, as if it's the same exact culture. It's like, no, there's gangsterism and then there's hunting culture. And most black folk that take pictures with guns aren't really a part of hunting culture. It's just not really the same thing.
Okay. All right. But we focus on Carmelo Anthony right now. We focus on Carmelo Anthony. Now, this is Carmelo Anthony, right? This is Carmelo Anthony. All right. Frisco Centennial High School, class of 2025. He's an athlete. He's 5'10", 175, 3.7 GPA. You know, good kid. Good kid. Got offers from colleges and different things like that. Seems like a pretty good kid. So help me understand, how do we get to this point? So what a lot of people are reporting on and saying, is that they knew each other. This was not random. They knew each other. Okay. Some people are saying that they just.
What people are saying that? Black people are saying that? I don't know if I trust them.
Just knew each other in passing. Some people are saying that he was harassing Austin's girlfriend, this, that, and the third. Okay. Now let's go to the track meet. Okay. Let's go to the track meet. At the track meet, it was said this, and this is what people are reporting on. I'm just telling y'all what's being said, that a coach told Carmelo that it was okay for him to sit under the tent. Right now,
now a coach told him it was okay. Oh, so the white man told him to sit over there. He had permission. You see how like the story just gets better and better. Carmelo just becomes more and more innocent the more black people tell the story. It gets better every time. It's amazing, right?
These blacks.
I was coming up, rival schools and different schools, we wasn't sitting under the same tent. Or we may visit, but we wasn't under their tent. We were kind of like outside their tent, or we would wave them down or whatever. Like, but we were never sitting in their tent. That's just my era. Okay, that's my era. Okay. But anyway, he's sitting under the tent, and they say that the brothers, right? The brothers tried to physically remove him, or they tried to jump him. Right? Okay. Once they tried to jump him, and I guess he broke away. Okay. He had enough time to make some space, create some space, and was able to reach into his bag. He said something to them. They went at him again. Carmelo ended up poking Austin. Okay. I don't mean to say that, but you know, certain words, right? And then when it happened, Carmelo ran, this, that, and the third. Now, Carmelo is claiming self-defense. All right, he's claiming self-defense. He even asked, was Austin okay? This is what is being reported. Y'all can go look it up. I'm not making this up. Now, I have a couple questions, okay? People are reporting that they are known bullies, and this, that, and the third. And if they knew each other, why couldn't, I'm just saying, why couldn't Carmelo just walk away?
If they knew each other, it's premeditated, bro. It makes the argument at the very least that he wanted to provoke this encounter because they had problems already. If I ever get in trouble, I'm not going to hire a black lawyer.
If he knows him, why couldn't he just walk away? You know what I'm saying? Then I want to know, why did you have a weapon at a track meet? You know, regardless of how, yeah, you can carry it around, ain't no problem, this and that, but why have it there? Y'all at a track meet. You're running. You're a track athlete. There's so many questions I have. So many questions. But like I said, this was not to be disrespectful to Austin or anything like that, but this is to shine light that something ain't adding up. This
Something really isn't adding up. You're right. Dolomite says, now let this sink in. A Division I football star with an SEC scholarship is going to risk it all trying to fight at a track meet. That is apparently what happened, and it's just not adding up. It all sounds retarded.
This wasn't just some altercation, and he just went and just did this to him. Like, something ain't adding up. You know what I'm saying? So I just want the truth, man. Just want to get to the bottom of it. Man, look, I don't know where to start, but let's talk about it. So there's always,
man, this shit is all over the internet. Man, I know y'all been, man, this shit is all over the internet. I'm gonna give y'all my take on this, man. It's condolences to the family. It was a life loss, but I'm gonna get into the video and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna chop this one up. Let's talk about it.
Again, I was at a track meet, by the way, on Tuesday. This is not something you think could ever happen. How did it happen?
So there was a really bad storm in the morning, and they had a lot of delays. And me, my brother, a couple of kids were walking back from the field house of the middle school because we attended that middle school when we went to middle school. And we were saying hello to old coaches and catching up with them. And then we're walking back to our stand, and we put our tent up so all the bleachers were right there were not wet from all the rain. We come back, we sit down, and this kid said something behind me. I've never met this kid in my entire life, never knew who he was. Said something just inappropriate and uncalled for, and I turned around and asked him who he was. He started getting really aggressive. My brother stepped in. He started being, how he always is with his brothers, just having my back. And things started getting more higher intensity. And the kid said some aggressive stuff, reckless stuff, and also try to handle the problem. And
Austin was always one to step up. He always was one to step up.
So listen, man. Like I said, condolences to the family, man. It's a sad tragedy that this happened, man. But the only problem I got with this situation, man, they vilified this young man. They instead of calling it what it was, man, and speaking to the truth for this whole matter, they trying to vilify another black man, another black teenager angry. The dad even get on TV and said, "Who raised this kid?" But y'all ain't. You could tell in this interview how his son was dancing around saying the word fight. First of all, who is y'all to police the tent? If he bogus, go get a teacher or something. How both of them gonna try to move him? So you know what happened. They try to tell Shorty to move around. Shorty, like he said, he probably was talking reckless or whatever. They was talking reckless to him too. And then they tried to push on him. Now, when you engage in a physical altercation, that's the thing, the bad downside to it. Listen, you can't set the rules, the ground rules. Oh, we gonna jump your ass, but you can't pull no weapon. No, man. Man, Shorty trying to protect herself. Y'all, they dancing around every interview. They dancing around the truth, man. They talking about he tried to step up and handle the situation. How did he try to handle it? He grabbed his book bag. Why he grabbing his book bag? So you know the twins was the aggressor, man. Shorty, it don't make it right that Shorty stabbed him, but he was protecting himself. He was protecting himself, and he had a knife for a reason, bro. He 4.0 GPA, man. Shorty won.
What is the 4.0 GPA guy carrying a knife to high school for, though? It just doesn't sound right. The whole thing does. Oh God, man. This is why a lot of people right now, black and white, actually believe this. Actually, the black people believe it. They don't say it, but they act on it. But the new American dream is to make enough money that you never have to live around a lot of black people. You know, maybe one or two stroll in your path every now and then, but when there's more than three, you got to start making more money.
You know what I'm saying? He was protecting himself. Now he got to deal with the law and the justice or whatever. But Joe, he ain't do nothing outside of what nobody else would have did. And they look much bigger than him. They way bigger than the Shorty was. He stood on business, man. He stood on business. Now he got to face the court of law. But Shorty stood on business. Stop trying to do that to our people, baby.
This kid, before I knew his name.
You hear the glee, the celebration at the end right there? He stood on business. Stop trying to do this to our people. It's a team thing. It's really a team thing, and it's crazy. You know, there's one more thing I want to show you guys before we get up out of here. This is a Twitter page, an X page. I hate calling it X. I think Twitter is a better name, but anyway. Deceded Delusion Detection, right? DDD. Apparently, this page is dedicated to reporting black on white crime. And there's a lot. Is
in custody this morning, accused to that deadly shooting spree in California. A suspect is in custody this morning, accused of killing 3 white men because of their race. ABC's Kana Whitworth is on the scene for us there in Fresno with details. Good morning, Kana.
Robin, good morning. Police are saying this was a hate crime solely based on race, that Corey Muhammad wanted to kill as many white men as he could before going to jail for a previous murder. Authorities say this is the gunman who went on a deadly shooting spree in broad daylight in downtown Fresno.
We're getting reports of multiple gunshot incidences in the downtown area.
Trey said he wanted to do a panda. I got time for maybe a short panda. You guys want to do a panda? We got to keep it on Rumble though. We're gonna move the panel to Rumble. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to have a Rumble panel, y'all. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to have a Rumble panel, because that's the only way we're going to talk about this freely. Plus, if we go to Rumble, there are some videos I'll play for you that I wouldn't play on YouTube, because you know how it is.
Corey Ali Muhammad allegedly firing 16 shots in less than 2 minutes at 4 different locations, killing 3 white men Tuesday morning.
Yeah, we're going to need to get more units out here.
We just got another call in of 6 shots fired. Authorities say the 39-year-old first opened fire on a PG&E truck at 10:45 a.m., shooting and killing the passenger. 34-year-old Zachary Randalls, the married father of 2, was a new employee on his first ride-along with the company. The suspect then firing at but missing a nearby resident, only to kill 2 more men before police apprehended him.
He made some spontaneous statements. I did it. I shot them.
2 months ago, Muhammad posted this video of a song to YouTube.
Death and destruction, murder and mayhem.
He yelled out Ali Akbar as he was seated in the back seat of the patrol car.
Police believe this shooting was a hate crime and not related to terrorism.
Based on the information that we have been provided, this is solely based on race.
Police say Muhammad is also responsible for...
You know, without taking a quick look at the numbers, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the actual hate crimes were black. It was more black versus white than white versus black. The media would have you believe otherwise, but I suspect if you dig into the numbers, there are a lot more black versus white crimes. Hate crimes may be a particular definition that might lose me the argument, but I'm still willing to bet.
For murdering another man last week, 25-year-old Carl Williams, a security guard at a nearby motel. Muhammad allegedly telling police he wasn't going to jail for shooting a security guard and was going to try and kill as many people as possible.
All right, it looks like the audience has spoken. We just might be, we are definitely, not might be, we are definitely going to go in a little bit of overtime. It looks like we're going to get some bonus content. I put the Rumble link in the chat. You guys hit that Rumble link. We are going to be hitting the road shortly. We're moving over to Rumble, y'all. We're moving to Rumble. Hit that link. We're going to have some exclusive bonus content over on Rumble. I got a couple other videos. Like I said, I wouldn't play these on YouTube because they have rules. They don't like certain people. But if we go to Rumble, I can do extra spicy things. You know, it'll be like an OnlyFans, but, you know, for adults that like news things.
Police charging him with 4 counts of murder and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, saying the night that he killed that unarmed security guard, he also tried to kill his partner, but simply ran out of ammo. Robin?
Such a horrible story. Have they recovered the murder weapon?
Yeah, Robin, police are saying that after the shooting,
is behind a violent home invasion in Santa Monica is behind bars.
He's accused of breaking into a woman's home and stabbing her. KCAL 9's Lisa Siegel tells you how police caught up to him.
a ton of forensic evidence, blood, fingerprints, and an all-out manhunt led to the capture of this suspect. After an intense investigation, police say the man responsible for a brutal home invasion robbery that sent a young woman to the hospital is now in custody. He is 25-year-old Rashad Devon Harris of Mid-City.
Tonight, a suspect is behind bars in the 37-year-old presumed murder of a White Cloud man. It's a case that police say they never forgot. We're hearing from a mother grateful that a suspect has been arrested while dreading the trial that's expected to come. News 8's Bart Dieters is in Nuevo County with the story.
Rook Atwood was last seen here in White Cloud in August of 1983. It would be 2 months later that his bloody car would be discovered 50 miles away in Grand Rapids. Police always suspected that Roy Snell was responsible, but it was only this week that an arrest was made with the help of the state attorney general's office and
Tonight, the GBI says that it solved a 23-year-old cold case. Tara Louise Baker was found dead after a fire at her Athens apartment back in August of 2001. After 2 decades, the GBI says that it's charged an Athens man for her death.
Like I was saying earlier, there are entire channels dedicated to just meticulously documenting the sheer outrageous imbalance in black on white crime. And people are noticing. It becomes hard not to notice after a while. And once you start noticing, you just can't stop. But we are going to take this conversation over to Rumble, guys. If you haven't done so, please hit that link in the chat. We are going to wrap this one up. Thank you to everybody over on YouTube. Appreciate you guys' support. Follow us over on Rumble. We got to keep this conversation alive. We're going to have a little bit more content. Like I said, there are some things that we're going to talk about now that we can't really talk about in depth because, you know, I'm going to be a good boy forever and ever. I was always going to be a good boy from now on. And so now we're going to go over to Rumble where I can, I can be a little bit more like me. And I might even say some bad words. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So I appreciate you guys following on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. We got to keep this channel growing. We are finally an official YouTube channel. I appreciate the monetization. It took me a while. I had this channel in the cut for a year now, longer than a year. I had a backup channel for a while now. But I really never focused on it. And so now I've been trying to build it, and we're here, and you guys came over, and I really, really thank you all for that. But we're going to shut this down and go have a grown-up conversation, man. I'll check you guys later.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.